I'm Gareth Kane and welcome to Ask Gareth. The idea here is very simple. You ask me questions about corporate social responsibility or sustainability and I answer them. The clue's in the name. And the question this time comes from Sue. And Sue's the environmental manager at one of the country's biggest manufacturing companies. They've got sites all across the country and she's quite concerned about business travel. And she writes, "Dear Gareth, how do you get employees to travel less? We've tried a poster campaign focusing on quality of life, but what more can we do?" Well, I've actually seen one of Sue's posters and it is extremely good. It neatly compares the time taken, the hassle between booking a meeting somewhere across the country, booking the travel, booking the hotel, doing the travel, getting there, having to stay overnight away from the family and all those things, compared to how simple it can be if you use teleconferencing. And it doesn't fall into any of the traps of giving people guilt trips or using eco cliches or anything like that. It is very, very good. So if it's so good, why is it not working as well as Sue would like? Well, next time you walk past your company notice board, just stop and count the number of messages which are coming at you off that board. And I would be very surprised if it was less than 24. Everything from stop smoking to join in the company karaoke evening next week, or somebody's got a bicycle for sale, all these things. And all those messages are competing for attention and they all drown each other out. So none of them get heard. Now, secondly, ask yourself, when was the last time you made a major behavioural change, lifestyle change, because you saw a poster? Has anybody ever given up smoking because they saw a sign saying stop smoking? It usually takes a lot more than that. So the ability of a poster to actually change behaviour is very, very limited. So Sue, you don't need a better poster. But here are 3 things that you could think about that may help reduce the carbon footprint of your travel. First of all, and very importantly, you've got to make sure that the low carbon option is always easier to follow than the high carbon option. Now, one of my clients, we found when we dug into the system a little bit that the teleconferencing wasn't being so well used because it was very bureaucratic. And it was actually easier for people to book a meeting and make everybody make their own travel arrangements. So we stripped that bureaucracy away and suddenly it was easier to use teleconferencing, so people used it. Likewise, you can add a bit of grit to the high carbon options. And another one of my clients, they will allow employees to take short haul air flight, but the employees have to pay for it out of their pocket and then claim the money back, so they're out of pocket for a few weeks. Whereas if you want to go by train, the company pays for the tickets up front and you're never out of pocket. Cunning, but very, very simple. Secondly, a lot of businesses hold the sort of travel budget as like an overhead across the entire organisation, and it's seen as this sort of inevitable cost of doing business. But if you delegate the travel budget down to a lower level, then every time that somebody wants to go on a trip, they have to justify it to their boss, who's the person who holds the purse strings. And this personal interaction makes it much less likely that people will go on jollies or go on unnecessary meetings, because the manager will want to make sure that their travel budget lasts out the whole year. Thirdly, get leadership involved, because people believe what they see rather than what they're told. So if the boss uses teleconferencing, then everybody will want to use teleconferencing, A, because it's the way they'll communicate with the boss, and secondly, they'll see that this is the way the company operates. Likewise, if the boss uses a low carbon vehicle or takes the train or cycles to work, all this behaviour will help sort of trickle down through the organisation and be seen as the right thing to do, particularly amongst the more ambitious managers, it has to be said. And the converse is true. I've heard several times about a boss who claims that makes a proclamation to the staff that everything's going to be green and environmentally friendly tomorrow, and then turns up next week in a gas guzzling company car. and just completely destroys the credibility of the message. But the triple bottom line here is having a message is not enough. Sustainability must be embedded into the fabric of the organisation. Whether that's the systems, whether it's the management structure, whether it's the leadership. Okay, Sue, I hope that answers your question. If anybody else has got any comments, do you agree, do you disagree, have you got some other ideas, some examples that are great case studies, then please add them in the comments below the video here. If you enjoyed the video, I'd like you to do two things. First of all, I'd like you to share this one with all your friends, colleagues and the rest of your network, anybody who you think might benefit from it. And secondly, go to www.terrainpharma.co.uk and sign up to the Low Carbon Agenda, which is my monthly newsletter, and you will get notification of every future edition of Ask Gareth and a whole bunch of other hints, tips and advice that you don't get elsewhere. And remember, whether you're making incremental improvements to your organisation's environmental performance or facilitating massive step changes towards sustainability, it all counts. You're making the world a better place, and you should be proud of that. Till next time, goodbye.